忘れられた都市続きをプレイしていきましょう。前回エクイティアさんと話をしたんですけどね、どうやら今このいる世界が冥界と呼ばれる、隔離用の世界みたいなところみたいですね。でその件に関してリビアさん、おばあちゃん、ちょっと頭がいっちゃった感じのおばあちゃんがそのことを知ってたみたいでね、それが彼女を悩ませてたっていうことらしいんで、ちょっとその話をしに行こうかなってとこですね。じゃあ行ってみましょう。
Just as the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls, but it does not notice the crowds that come.
その意味が分かった。ここがどこかも分かった。
Say it. Speak its name.
冥界だ。
Then it is true. I was right.
あなたは間違っていない。
I thought I saw it, but when the rest of them could not, I kept thinking I must have gone insane.
声のトーンが変わったぞ。
I had to tell myself it was true over and over again, until I wasn't sure if I was deceiving myself. I must apologize if my words seem cryptic. I'd found comfort in reciting the Metamorphoses by our great poet Ovid. He gives such an uncanny description of this place. I cannot help but wonder if he himself came here. Would you like to hear it?
おー、もちろん。
I will do my best to remember the relevant verse. There is a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It leads through dumb silence to the infernal regions. The sluggish Styx exhales vapor, and by that way, the shadows of the newly dead descend, entombed with full rites, and the ghosts of those, at last, given proper burial. The wide, thorny waste is cold and pallid, and the newly arrived shades are ignorant of the road that leads to the Stygian city, where Black Dis has his cruel palace. As the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls, and is never too small for any populace, nor notices the crowds that come. There the bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Some crowd the forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives, and still others incur punishment. I hope I have done it justice.
長いな。もっと短いもんかと思ってたけど、長いな。覚えられんぞ。
Thank you, friend. I think I should rest.
ああ、でもよかったね。リビアさんがこれで。この人が一番まともだったのかもしれないな。
Friend, you have given me hope.
お
May
お、
you
クエストクリア。
follow in the footsteps of Hercules and return to the light of day.
なるほど。じゃあ次はですね、名盤。これに関してギリシャ人のジョルジウスのところに行って聞いてみましょうか。
Hello again, my sartorial friend. What is on your mind?
ああ、服屋さんなんだっけ、この人。ギリシャの名盤がありそうな場所を知っているか。
And in a city full of Romans you are asking me? Because I am Greek. Let me tell you something about Greeks and Romans. My name is Georgios, yes. But the Romans, they do not care. They hear me say Georgios and they think, ah, he must mean Georgios. Good Roman name. They do this all the time. They see us worshipping Zeus, they copy us but call him Jupiter. They take Hades and call him Pluto, Persephone, Proserpina.
あ、ヘルセポネのことなんや。
They copy our ideas, but why must they change the names? Do they want credit for making it all up? Do they want to forget where it came from? At first, I pull my hair
そうやねんな、
out.
ギリシャ神話とローマ神話ってなんかほぼ似たようなもんみたいな感じないよな。
I accept the world is Roman now. Plus, I have no hair left to pull. But my point is this. If you want to know who stole an old Greek name, look no further than the sticky-fingered Romans. The plague you seek was pilfered from a collection of old Greek relics by none other than Tully.
重なるの
He
か。
cannot help it. Like a typical Roman, he likes shiny things, especially those that once belonged to my
じゃあ
people.
もう一
And
個
besides,
どっ
It
かに
makes
ある
him
な。
happy. So I say, let him keep it. I believe he still has it with him, in his cell, just opposite the Temple of Demeter.
知ってる知ってる。じゃあドリのとこに行ったらいいのか
I
な。
hope that our paths cross again soon, my friend.
行ってみようか。おい、それよこせや。てめえ。
Hello? Hello? Have we...
何回か会ってるけどな。あ、もうあれかな。記憶がないのかな。あなたの檻の中にあるギリシャの名盤のことだが。
Do you like it? It's shiny, innit? It makes me happy just looking at it.
それを譲ってもらえないか。
But if I gave it to you, then I wouldn't have it anymore, and I'd be sad.
ある大事なことのために必要なんだ。
But it's mine, and I really
この野
like
郎。
it. I want to keep it.
じゃあどうすれば渡してくれる？
Well... If
あ、
you
結
get
局
me
そ
out
こ
of
に行き
here,
着くん
then
か。
I wouldn't need it anymore because I'd already be happy. Then you could have it, and you'd be happy too.
センティウスはあなたを解放しないだろう。でも政務官が他の誰かに変わったら。
Like Galerius. He's nice. I like
まあやっぱ
Galerius.
そういうことやねんな。
He made me a dog.
ガレリウスか。これはねえな。ではとにかくガレリウスに投票するようみんなに呼びかければよいのか。
Yeah, Galerius will let me out. Then you can have my plaque, and everyone will be happy.
あ、結局ガレリウスを選挙で勝たせなあかんわけやな。じゃあどうしよう。もう一個の方行ってみようか。アウレリアにマーカーがついてるけど。あ、アウレリアにカバシュについて聞くか。あ、そっかそっか。
Exotic. Oh, you're here. I'm so glad you decided to visit. I'm Aurelia, and I hope I'm not being too forward, but the moment I laid
い
eyes
や、
on
おばちゃんはちょっとね。
you, intrigued. There's a light in your eyes I've never seen before.
すまないが興味がない。
Oh, I see. You prefer the company of men. Maybe you should go and make
あ、
friends
知ってるん
with
や。
Virgil instead. I take back what I said. Suddenly, let's just forget that ever happened. So,
カバシュを探しているどこかで見かけたか。
not for a few weeks now. Last time I saw him, he was sitting at a table
お
with
またジョル
two
ジウスか。
whispering about some job. I remember because they kept looking over their shoulders as if they didn't want anyone else to know. So, naturally, I hovered. The one word I kept hearing was
消
vanishing.
える。
And then, the next day, Kabash just disappeared.
またジョルジウスのとこに行かなあかんの。
I think not.
なるほど。
Alright, see ya.
カバシュを探しているあなたが最後に彼を見かけた人物だと聞いた。
Ah, I knew this day would come. I do not wish to lie to you, my friend, but even discussing this matter is
お
dangerous.
お、なんやろ。
Please, let us leave the live coals safely beneath the ash.
私を信じてほしい。異国人同士、共に手を取り合っていこう。違うか。
Very well, but the magistrate would not look kindly upon this,
Oh.
so please keep it to yourself. For several months now, I have been sneaking out at night to worship the gods of my ancestors in the temple of Demeter. Each day, I leave offerings of food in the hope that we may have a bountiful harvest, and yet the next day when I return, the food is missing.
それは奇妙だ。
So I ask, who or what is devouring the food in this
カバシュ
temple?
か。
Stranger still. Once I sat in front of my shop like the 100-eyed Argus until dawn, to see if I could spot a thief going in, but do you know what I saw?
思いつかない。
Nothing. Nobody entered. And yet when I went to take a look, my offering was gone. It is bizarre, is it not?
つまり中に何かおるってことじゃない。あ、それをカバッシュに打ち明けたんか。
He went in, and to my dismay, he was never
お
seen
ー
again.
ではこれからデメテルの神殿に行く。あ、っていうかどこ？
It is the only Greek temple in the city. Head towards the baths.
浴場に向かって右側にある最後の建物。よし、じゃあ行ってみよ
I
う。
do not think you should pursue this, my friend. It would break my heart to be responsible for two people disappearing.
ジョルジウスもいい人
Do
なん
not
だよ
strike me
な
as。a kind of person to be deterred by such warnings. So just be careful. I beg you.
任せとけっつーの。こっちか。すぐそこやん。これか。ああ、確かに何回かここ入ったけど何もねえな言うて出てたんやな。おう、他にはこの奥になんかあるや。あ、しゃがんでこういうことか。あれ、もともとあんなとこあったんかな。お、あ、セーブか。ハイドせんでも大丈夫やろ。へえ、結構長いな。いた。おお、考古学者。あれ、違うか？別の人
You
か。
carry the gift of Prometheus in your hand. Remarkable.
おお、
Welcome, welcome. May I ask your name?
そうそう。まあいいや、名乗ろ
It's
う。
a sincere pleasure to meet you. Tell me, what brings you all the way down here?
カバシを探している。
Ah, Kabash. I know this man. He came through here some weeks ago.
ていうか、こい
I
つは
will
誰なん
tell
だよ。
you everything I know, but first, a request. I have been living down here alone for many years, with nobody to talk to but myself. The one thing I long for above all else before I die is a good philosophical argument with somebody
Oh.
astute. I'm hoping that person is you. Let us find out with this simple question. Have you deduced the name of the god responsible for the golden rule?
プルートだ。
Excellent. I
選
see
択肢
you
1個しかな
are
かったから。
indeed astute.
名前忘れてたわ。
Very few come to that realization before their time in the sun is over. Now, will you join me in a friendly Socratic
あ、
dialogue?
これあんまり話進んでなかったら、ここで門前払い食らうとかそういうことなんかな。私の哲学談義に付き合ってくれるかね。おー、いいでしょう。
Wonderful. Then let me begin with a question. Would you say you know the difference between right and wrong?
はっきりできない。それは複雑な問いだ。
You are an overthinker too. We're the same then. This is probably why I became a philosopher. But if you struggle with right and wrong normally, then down here with the golden rule, surely your struggle can only have become more difficult.
ああ、そうかもしれない。
Well, that's reassuring. And the truth is, you're not alone. You see, out there in the world, being uncertain about right and wrong was acceptable. because our mistakes rarely had consequences. So we would tell lies and bend rules and turn a blind eye and rationalize, and yet still find a way to think of ourselves
あ
as
ー
good.
確かに
But under the golden
おっ
rule,
しゃる通りです。
morality matters. The slightest wrongdoing could result in a mass execution. So to navigate this maze, we would have to be certain about the difference between right and wrong. Wouldn't you agree?
それは誰にとっての善悪なのか。
That is an excellent question, and it leads directly to my next line of inquiry. So let me ask you this. Is there one system of morality which is always perfectly correct, which you could follow in every situation?
そんなもんはないやろ。そうは思わない。
Are you sure? Or is it possible that humans simply haven't figured out the right system yet?
ちょっと自分に正直すぎるか。まだ考え出せていないのか。そんなものは存在しないのか。まあいいか。存在しないでしょ。
So is it up to each of us to decide what right and wrong mean to us individually? Or must we simply follow the laws and customs of whichever community we're in?
そうやな。私たちそれぞれが判断する必要があると思う。
So if a man feels that stoning to death his unfaithful wife is right,
いや。いや、それは不条理だ、そうやな。
I agree. But why? Didn't you just say right and wrong depends on the individual?
そう言われると辛いな。もし彼が自分の妻を殺すことが正しいと感じているなら、彼は錯乱しているかやめにかかる。いや、ちょっと取り消そう。
And that's a credit to you. It is the mark of a civilized person to change their position when presented with a superior argument.
話の要点は
My point is this. I don't think anyone alive truly knows any hard and fast rules about right and wrong.
完全にそうとは言い切れないのでは。例えば殺してはいけないという規範は
Surely you would agree there are circumstances where an exception may be made, such as where it is necessary for self-defense or to prevent a greater evil. For any rule, you can imagine there are countless situations in which that rule may be suspended, and those situations are impossible to codify. If there is one thing I have observed about rules, it is that virtuous people do not need them, and evil people will always find a way around them. And so we must accept our limitations, and the sad truth that no human society will ever achieve the utopia for which it strives.
このじいさん頭いい
We
な。
would call it an asymptote, a line that can be approached but never reached. Because the only way to create a utopia is with the ever-present threat of force, such as the Golden Rule. This and no other is the root from which a tyrant springs when he first appears as a protector. And life under tyranny is no utopia at all.
賛成だ。
I'm glad to hear that. In any case, thank you for humoring an old man.
お、
I would be happy to answer your questions.
あなたのことを教えてほしい。
You mean how did I end up living alone in this cave with nothing but these relics of the past for company? It's a long story.
ぜひ聞きたい。
I was a quarrelsome young man. At 19, I left Corinth for Rome to study rhetoric at one of her finest academies, so I could argue more forcefully. Back then, I used to enjoy verbally sparring with everyone I could, and I was good. One night, I found myself in a tavern in an argument with a drunken mercenary. It became heated. He drew a gladius, and I won the argument, but lost my life. I woke up on the banks of the Styx at a campfire opposite Karen. Of course, I tried to persuade her to let me return, but even with all my skill, I failed. I settled in, made friends, and learned what I could, quickly realizing our little community faced certain death under the Golden Rule. So I began looking for a place to hide underground. Fortunately, I found this place waiting for me. You see, I was not the first to take refuge here. I returned to my friends above, persuaded them to join me, and 12 of us descended for the last time to live out our days hidden from Hades' tyranny.
ハデス、それはつまりプルートのことか。
They are one and the same. The Romans call him Pluto. But long before that, my people called him Hades.
へえ。なぜあなたは地表に戻れない？
My generation was wiped out, turned to gold, many years ago. My friends and I were able to avoid the same fate by hiding down here. I think it's safest to assume that if I was to return, Hades would realize that his furies hadn't finished the job, and he'd send them after me again.
なぜ名前を教えてくれないのか。
I fear that if you were to utter my name in the city, even by mistake, that Hades would hear you,
ああ、なるほ
and
ど
know
ね。
I'm still alive.
他の者はどこにいる？
I'm afraid I am the only one left. There were 12 of us in the beginning, but one by one, my friends passed away. Some from malnutrition, others from madness and despair. It has been lonely. Before my unexpected visit from Kabash some weeks ago, I'd not seen another person in many, many years.
ここで今までどうやって生き延びてきたのか。
Living in darkness is not without its challenges. The first challenge is diet. Fortunately, I found that
魚だけでどうにかなるもんか。
the nutrients I need. And sometimes, when there are Greek people living up above, I surface at night and salvage the offerings they've left in the temple of Demeter. The greater challenge is the isolation. So I like to imagine arguments, where I argue both sides. But, like so many things in life, arguments are better with a partner.
別の話をしよう。
As you wish.
ここから出る方法を知っているか？
Ha! If I did, would I be living like this?
そらそうやな。黄金律についてどう思う？
Did we not discuss it at length already? Oh, I see. You're toying with
あ
me.
あ、そうやな。オベリスクから取り外された銘板がどこで見つかるか、あなたはわかるか？
You seek the plaque bearing the Egyptian inscription.
まさにそれを探している。
It is a cursed object, and I would be happy to give it to you if Kabash had not already taken it.
分かった。ではカバシュの居場所を教えてほしい。
I will tell you, but you may find him hostile. To prepare for your encounter,
おお、マジ
there
か
are。certain things you must know. Very few know this, but before the Romans came to this city, it was once entirely Greek. The architecture, the temples, and the people. When the Romans came, in typical fashion, they claimed it as their own, built over everything that could be built over, and renamed the things that could not. Thus, the shrine of Persephone became the shrine of Proserpina. And when they found an obelisk bearing the name Hades, they tore it off and replaced it with Pluto instead. And the city's dwindling Greek residents, witnessing this compulsive Roman conquest, decided to preserve what they could of their heritage. They gathered their art and valuables, secreted them away through the temple of Demeter, and hid them here, out of reach of the Romans.
一体これがカバシュとどう関係する？
I'm getting to that. You see, it was among these old Greek relics that I found the thing you seek. An even older plaque bearing an Egyptian inscription.
何と書いてあった？
We had no idea until years later, when the first of my friends began to die. As a result of their deaths, we began to dig catacombs branching off from this cavern to lay them to rest. We extended the tunnel so far that we accidentally discovered another, an even older tunnel, which somebody had gone to great lengths to keep hidden. Suddenly it made sense why there was an out-of-place Egyptian plaque among our people's possessions. You see, we proud Greeks had thought the Romans beasts for stealing and corrupting our heritage. But it turns out this game has been going on much longer than any of us imagined. I think it is best you head through the catacombs and follow Kabash's trail.
中には何が？
There are certain things you must see for yourself. Take this key. You'll need it to open the gate.
地下墓地への鍵。おー、なんか話がだいぶ進んできたね。はい、じゃあ今回この辺で終わっておきましょうかね。このおじいさんとの話面白かったな。もうちょっと哲学論議したかったな。それではまた次回お会いしましょう。わかった。